on this edition of Informed Choices, where we dialogue to enrich our perspectives. And today we have a wonderful woman, Carol Evans, who is the co-chair of Executive Women for Hillary. She is the founder and president emeritus of Working Mother Media and CEO of Carol Evans Enterprises. Carol's involvement with Working Mother dates back to 1978, when she launched the magazine for a large publishing company and ran it for its first 10 years. During that time, she created the Working Mother 100 Best Companies, the most important benchmark for working families. Between 1989 and 2000, Carol ran two media companies, first as president of Stagebill magazine and then as COO of Chief Executive Group, a media company serving Fortune 1000 CEOs. In 2001, Carol came back to buy Working Mother, becoming the first woman and mom to own the publication. Over the next 15 years, she launched key initiatives including Best Companies for Multicultural Women, Best Law Firms for Women, and the Top Companies for Executive Women. In 2007, Carol took her company global, hosting conferences in South Africa, Brazil, China, and India. Carol has won numerous awards for her work and has appeared on most major talk shows, including Today Show and Oprah. Carol's book, The Working Mother's Manifesto, was published in 2006 by Penguin. She is now a busy keynote speaker, consultant on the advancement of women, and co-chair of Executive Women for Hillary. Welcome to the studios, Carol.
Thank you so much, Dilshad. It's delightful to be here.
Likewise. Carol, they say that some endings are just the beginnings. Tell me your transition from Working Mother Media and how your passion has translated into Executive Women for Hillary.
Well, it was a wonderful timing because I had been working for 40 years, which is a very long time, and I've been in management since I was quite a young woman. So I was ready to have a more flexible schedule. I was ready to spend a little bit more time with my husband and my family. And of course, I had been watching Hillary Clinton for a very long time, and I felt very sure that she would take the run and go for the presidency. So in February of 2015, I worked with a group of women to organize Executive Women for Hillary. And in April, I retired from Working Mother. She announced her candidacy on June 13th, and it's been a whirlwind ever since.
It seems that as you speak, there is so much excitement in your tone. And I feel that it's just the creativity that takes off different enterprises. There is no giving up or stopping when it comes to your personality.
That's true. In fact, I've been kind of surprised about how Executive Women for Hillary has many of the same elements that Working Mother Media has had. Mm-hmm. And so we have events and we have all kinds of communication with our members. We have a very passionate core, and that's all very familiar to me from what I built in business.
That is awesome. So tell me, Carol, what is the core purpose of this group, which is more like a movement, feminist in nature, and has a strong message, and I see an agenda packed with action and purpose. Could you elaborate on that?
You're right, Dilshad. We are all about action and purpose, but our main core purpose is to elect Hillary Clinton as the first woman president of the United States and as the most qualified candidate to ever run for president, perhaps, in this country. But at our core, we want to take the tremendous resource that women who have executive positions and managerial positions in this country, mm-hmm. women who are entrepreneurs and sole practitioners, really any woman who is moving the economy mm-hmm. forward, we want to take her resources and put it against our cause of electing Hillary Clinton. And so you know what executive women have as tremendous strengths. They have their networks, which are very strong. Mm-hmm. They have their executive abilities to get things done. They have influence, and they know how to use their influence, and they know how to make a commitment and stick to it. So we've organized women who know how to get things done, just like Hillary does, for the purpose of getting her elected.
So this is like a pool of all the strengths and abilities of all these women who have been waiting to gather together on a single platform and share as mentors, as leaders, as network professionals. So this has become like a very engaging platform for them.
Yes, and also it's difficult because executive women are very busy. Many of them are mothers and have major family responsibilities as children or in many, many ways community leaders. So they need an organization to help them focus on what they should be doing and guide them through the labyrinth of politics, which they're not focusing on full time.
Right.
So it's wonderful because there's so many women who want to volunteer, want to help get out the vote, want to be involved in politics, but don't know how.
So why do you believe, Carol, that whether it's majority or minority, whether it's women of color, such as African American, Asian, Pacific Islanders, everybody has to be engaged, and you see the significance of this in this election process in order to bring the change they wish to see in the world?
Well, politics is at the base of everything that happens in our country. And if you're not engaged in politics, then you really can't complain about what happens around you. And of course, you know, in my opinion, this is a tremendously dramatic choice that we're going to be making. The differences could not be greater between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. And you know, I believe Hillary Clinton will clinch the nomination very soon. In fact, I think New Jersey will put her over the top. And so then we'll be facing the general election. But what is clear here is that women who think very long range, and I think women think long range because of our children
Absolutely.
and our grandchildren. So we see the future clearly. I believe that women are really concerned about what the future holds, and we need to focus on what the President of the United States will bring to us in the future. And it's a rather frightening choice right now when you look at it.
Absolutely. And I think what you said was that when we are not concerned about leadership, then we should not be concerned about the impact and the influence that it's going to make. Because if we are not engaged in the process, the policies are going to trickle down and influence our lifestyle, no matter what we say or what we do.
Exactly. And people think, oh, it doesn't matter to me. But everything matters to you, because if you care about reproductive rights, if you care about a safety net for disadvantaged people, if you care about education, which of course all women care about education, and if you care about the choices that we are able to make as women in so many areas, then you must be concerned about politics, even down to the issues of whether we go to war or whether we're safe in our communities, whether we let people and welcome people into our country or whether we block them out. These are issues that the President of the United States has tremendous impact upon. And that's why we have to care about this election.
You have worked in several portfolios, and with all the experiences that you bring, I have seen you as an advocate for motherhood. I've also seen you with your efforts promoting equality at the workplace. I'm very curious, and so are the audience, I believe, that what is a significant challenge or life-turning event that has shaped your personality with the way you work and think now?
Well, you know, I mean, I got a lot of my personality from my mother. She was a very warm and engaging woman, and I learned that you can just really embrace people very freely, and it will all come back to you in the end. But professionally, I acquired Working Mother magazine, and it was the biggest thing I did in my life. It was at such a terrible time in our country. I acquired the magazine on August 17th, 2001, and 3 weeks later, 9/11 happened.
Oh my God.
So the company was 3 weeks old in my ownership. I had responsibility for all the families of the employees that worked there, and we were based in New York City, and our city was destroyed, you know, for that time frame. It affected me tremendously. It hurt, and it was frightening. But when we came through it, and it was terrible for business. You know, we lost a lot of money in that time frame. But when we came through it, it was so a deep experience. And so it gave me tremendous courage. I saw the bravery around me. I saw what everyone had done to live through and overcome what happened in 9/11. It gave me bravery, and that was when I decided that we needed to step out of our comfort zone and launch our best companies for multicultural women.
Wow.
And it was based on the experience of 9/11 and that feeling of needing to be brave in a corporate setting
Wow.
was what propelled us forward and allowed us to be successful in that journey.
That is awesome because we have heard such incredible stories about how New York people came together. I mean, forgetting all their differences and helped the city and built the city together. And when you say about multicultural women in the workplace, and that has also been a very significant challenge in terms of diversity that these corporations have been facing. So is there anything that you have done a little differently or have seen things that have changed while you were in this position?
Oh yes, very much has changed. We launched it in 2002, so it's been a long-standing tradition of really getting women to talk to each other about race openly. I think that has helped tremendously in the corporate dialogue, bringing women of various racial and ethnic backgrounds together and asking white women to talk about themselves as an ethnic and racial group was very helpful because it put them on the same plane of being uncomfortable about looking at where they stood in the world vis-a-vis race. All of the work that we did on multicultural women was helpful and gave companies a base to start from, so that it was a third-party organization saying, let's talk about race. And they didn't have to start the conversation in their own company. It's been a tremendous start for this work.
So that is just like you kind of came up with certain models and programs that helped the company break the ice that was long withstanding.
Just like we did for working mothers. So back in 1986, we launched the Best Companies for Working Mothers. And that gave companies the opportunity to look at what would be helpful to women who wanted to have babies and continue working. And that icebreaker, which helped them to understand that women have needs as employees and as moms.
Absolutely. This inspiration from what you try to give to other companies through your work and to other women leads us to call upon each and every potential voter to engage and bring action. In Jersey or California, which are upcoming primaries, I'm sure that you must have thought about, and you are giving day by day tips to women on how they can be more engaged and what they can do to kind of be more active in this process.
Yes, we really focus a lot on action, as you know. We want to make sure that people have work to do for our candidate or for the candidate that they support. And some of the things that they can do are really interesting. I mean, first of all, you can go to a campaign headquarters and participate in Get Out the Vote. There's lots of kinds of Get Out the Vote work, and it's very important because an election is made or broken by not how people feel about the candidate, but by how many people actually act on those feelings and vote on election day. So Get Out the Vote can include visibility, which is really fun, where you stand on the street corner and you say, your candidate, you're for Hillary, and you pass out literature. You can go door knocking, which is talking one-on-one, face-to-face with an actual voter who's a Democrat who's deciding between Clinton and Sanders. And you can make phone banking calls. You can telephone into any state that's having a primary at that moment. And that's a very exciting thing because right now we can call into California or into New Jersey and really have an impact on asking people to vote for our candidates.
So Carol, people can call from their own homes?
Yes, they can call from their own homes. All they have to do is for Hillary, they go on hillaryclinton.com /make-calls is the website. And they just volunteer to do phone banking. And an instruction link will come to them, and they can phone right from their homes, or they can have a little more fun with it and join a phone bank. We're having a big phone bank on June 7th, and there's phone banks all over New Jersey.
Okay. So, Carol, tell me, what can people do to join forces with you? There are so many women watching, and if they want to be, part of your organization who is supporting Hillary, what is the next step?
Well, first, I want them to think about what it is that they'd like to do. They can go on to our website, which is www.hillaryclinton, I'm sorry, www.executivewomenforhillary.com.
That's the passion, yeah.
Yes, and just click on the join button, and we ask only 5 pieces of information about you, so we can send you information back. And from there, it's up to them. I mean, they want to think about, why are they committed to Hillary Clinton? Is it because of her stand for children that has been so long-standing? Is it because of her national security credentials as Secretary of State? Is it because she's a caring and giving person, a mother and a grandmother? They need to think through their own commitment and really form their own story of why they're supporting Hillary, and then go from there. Join up with us, share your story, sign up for some of our activities, and the most important thing is to vote on November 7th. On June 7th.
On June 7th. And there is also a very important agenda for minority women and women of color, is the reproductive rights, where Hillary stands very strong. And if people are very passionate about that, there is a lot of resources they can get from, if they reach access to your site, and there is a network of people who can help them out if they want to learn more.
Well, I think that women of color have tremendous interest in several areas that Hillary is deeply experienced about. One is reproductive rights, but another one is immigration. And of course, on the opposite side of the coin, the other candidate for the president is very much against immigration, and has said some very inflammatory things. But also, I think that issues like equal pay. Equal pay affects all women, but it affects women of color more dramatically than white women.
Absolutely.
And every time that you look at the disadvantage that Hillary wants to attack, and her campaign is all about breaking down barriers. The barriers are higher for women of color, including, let's take hourly minimum wage.
Absolutely.
Most people who make a minimum wage, the majority of people are women. And so her idea of a national minimum wage that doesn't have to wait for state-by-state passing, it's a brilliant plan, and it's going to help women of color more than anyone else at all. And so those are some of the reasons why I think we have to be passionate about electing Hillary.
Your point on these women are not paid equally, and women of color are more disadvantaged. But at the bottom line, when people would see that this is what is kind of impeding the family empowerment, it is stopping a national progress. But I don't see it as gender battle at all. It is something that people need to realize, that it is coming, and it is a collective thing. Men and women live together, they have families together, and if women are not paid equally, then of course their family income goes down.
Yes, and I think that's part of the reason why men are passionate about electing Hillary Clinton too. There are so many men who are in the campaign, so many men that I meet on the campaign trail that are very passionate, strong supporters, great fundraisers for Hillary Clinton. And it's because, when you're talking about family values and what we need to do for American families, that's everyone, male, female, mother, father, grandmother, grandfather. And it's not affecting any one group more than the other. I also think that many men are also very proud of the idea that the United States of America could elect a black man as president and a female as president. It's time for the United States to catch up to the rest of the world. Especially on things like paid family leave, where we're so far behind, but also we're behind in our elected officials, and we have a lower percentage of Congress who are women than in many other countries.
I agree.
One of the only developed countries that has never had a female leader.
Yes, and I think that will also lead our way towards proper representation in many political office after a woman president is elected.
Having a woman president will normalize that female at the top, and it will give also a lot of courage to other women to run. We need women to decide, I'm going to run for a state senate, I'm going to run for town board, so that they get the experience and they can move up the ladder of political office. I think having a woman at the top of any area where we haven't had one before gives role modeling to mature women, and of course to our children.
Especially our daughters.
Especially our daughters.
So Carol, what would be your message that you would like to give to all these women who are watching, and how do you feel that with this primaries that are coming up, how can they be more engaged? What is one thing that you would like the women of color and minority women to do?
I think women of color and minority women should really get themselves educated on the facts. There's a wonderful website called thebriefing.com, which gives you all of Hillary Clinton's policies. And a lot of times people ask me, well, what does she think about this or that? Everything is laid out there because, as we all know, Hillary Clinton is a tremendous policy person. She thinks deeply about all these issues that we care about. And we can look on that website and find her position on anything that we're curious about. So educating ourselves so that when we approach the general election, which is coming soon,
Right.
so that we can not only have our own personal commitment stories of why we are supporting her, but we can also know some of the wonderful facts and things that she's done for us. One other thing that I would recommend highly is there's a marvelous film called Makers Once and For All. And it's the story of Hillary Clinton and many, many, many other women in China at the Beijing Conference on Women in 1995. It's available on Amazon Prime and AOL.com, and I highly recommend that young women, or women who don't quite remember those days, that we all watch it and see the role that Hillary played as a very, very young First Lady in the world of advancing women's rights when she said, women's rights are human rights, and human rights are women's rights.
Absolutely, because as soon as this Beijing thing comes up, that's where Hillary was fighting for us at
In
that
1995.
time.
This is a long-term
very
commitment on her part. All of her life has been committed to serving the public and to serving women.
That is amazing. And Carol, with Executive Women for Hillary, people can just access the site and find their strengths and communicate with your members and be part of it. You do events.
It's a free service. It's a free organization to join. There's no membership fee and no requirement to donate. We have events all throughout the country. We also train people on how to do events in their own homes, like show that film or all kinds of things. We also have a training program, and we run webinars where we train people on how to get out the vote. We'll be training people for the general election on how to address Clinton versus Trump issues. And we'll also be training people how to organize in the swing states, what we now call the purple states, where the voting is going to be hot and heavy, and that's where the difference is going to be made. So people can learn from Executive Women for Hillary how to get involved. It's very active, very passionate, and it's a lot of, we have so much fun.
Thank you so much, Carol, for being part of Informed Choices and being in our studios. And I wish you all the best, and we wish you all the best, in fact, in your future projects. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you so much. It was delightful to be here with you.
Thank you. Over the past several years, advocates around the country have been fighting to preserve and restore one of American citizens' most basic rights, the right to vote. Voting access is critical to fulfilling the nation's promise of equality and ensuring that all citizens, regardless of their race, gender, or ethnicity, are able to fully participate in the democratic process. For women and people of color, the power of the vote has been instrumental in helping to expand access to education, health, and beyond to level the playing field so that everyone has a chance to succeed. Despite having faced significant voting hurdles throughout American history, women of color played a crucial role in the outcome of the 2012 election. Looking forward, the power of women of color voters will only continue to grow. In this ongoing conversation about how best to ensure equal voting access, there is growing evidence that one particular segment of the population, women of color, is poised to play a more decisive role in future elections. Hope you will continue to engage and enrich your perspectives by joining us on Informed Choices with Dilshad. Thanks for watching.